a splendid New England fall afternoon for college football. Homecoming and tailgating come together in East Hartford, Connecticut. The matchup, an intriguing one. The speed of South Florida and the physicality and bark of UConn. Coming up next, Big East football. Today's matchup in the Big East features a couple of teams badly in need of a victory. The Bulls of South Florida and the Huskies of UConn. Greetings, good afternoon. I'm Jim Barber. Here's Christian Fourier, who started at the University of Colorado. It has been 7 days since UConn was run out of Morgantown by West Virginia, and 16 days since South Florida was buried by Pitt. So these two teams are foaming at the bit to get back at it today, and what is at stake for both?
Well, for UConn, it's a 3-game losing streak for the first time since 1999. But more importantly, they need to find their identity as a team. They've been in every game they've lost this far this year, but they've blown fourth-quarter leads in 3 of those 4 games. And for South Florida, coming off a bye week, a big loss against Pitt, they're trying to keep their Big East championship hopes alive, and they need a win today to do it.
And the Bulls star players, the quarterback, B.J. Daniels, number 7, who a couple of years ago as a redshirt freshman scored 3 times against UConn.
Yeah, and he didn't play last year, and UConn won. But this is a guy that is a dual threat. He'll run all over the place if you let him. He's rushed for 258 yards this far this year, 3 touchdowns. But the most impressive thing about B.J. Daniels is his maturity as a passer. He's completing 63% of his throws, 8 touchdowns. Most importantly, only 1 interception.
On the defensive side of the ball, in the safety position, number 40 is Tymer Brown of UConn. He already has a pick 6, and he'll be staring at B.J. from time to time today.
Yeah, I tell you what, the secondary has to be huge. Tymer Brown is one of those guys. In the last 2 games, quarterbacks have thrown for over 940 yards and 9 touchdowns. He's going to be key in both run support and coverage.
Not only will he be key, how about Byron Jones stepping into a big spot in place of one Wilson, who is not playing today due to an knee injury. We come back, more on that, and you'll meet the coaches in today's game. Rentschler Field opened in the year 2003 and saw its 2 millionth fan on September 16th. This place is probably not a stranger to one Skip Holtz, who coached at Connecticut, Division I AA, and with the success they had back in 1998, probably played a significant role in the building of this stadium. The athletic director at that time, he gave full credit to, was Lou Perkins. And for Holtz, another homecoming, and he appreciates the fact that he's got family and friends, many in attendance for this game today. This is his 2nd season as coach at South Florida. Paul Pasqualoni, well, we talked to him earlier in the week, and we said, how you doing? He said, well, I've been better. And after a second half in which things unraveled in Morgantown, you can understand why, but he still feels pretty good about his youthful group. And if the secondary can play better today, it will have a chance to make the coach feel a little bit better. The weather today, temperature 64 degrees. It's a gusty wind at 21 miles per hour. And the forecast partly cloudy. We saw bits and pieces of rain from time to time, but really not much to report on. The lights have been turned on for some time. South Florida won the toss, but has elected to give up the football, and will get the win late in the game if necessary. Marvin Kloss, 27, will kick, and the Huskies, 31, Williams, is back to receive. We're underway. And that one good for 70 yards. And so the Huskies go on offense from their own 20. Led by quarterback number 18, Johnny McEntee. McEntee has started every game this year, completing passes at nearly 52%. He has thrown 6 touchdowns and been picked 4 times.
It's going to be key for him to get off to a good start, want to get some confidence early. Definitely going to have to make some plays in this game.
Certainly feel they've got to be able to run the football, and typically it'll be a steady diet of Lyle McCombs if possible.
And the one thing they need to do offensively is get the ball to Lyle McCombs, get some positive yards on first and second down, because you know the key in this game is, can Johnny McEntee make throws with his arm when it's an obvious passing situation?
The Moores, Kashif and Isaiah are the home run hitters for this team. And up front, guys with lots of experience, including Mo Petras, who is making his 44th career start in a row. On second down, that one broken up near the 30-yard line.
Now, this is a fast secondary of USF. They have a lot of experience and a lot of speed. A big challenge this week for these receivers, the two Moores, Kashif and Isaiah, is can they get open on man-to-man coverage?
Quentin Washington broke that play up as we take a look at South Florida's 4-3 defense. Ryan Giddens is a good one at the defensive end spot, and they expect star qualities out of him. The linebackers are anchored by Michael Linares, and the secondary, each of these guys, potential for a return on an interception or fumble for a touchdown. And nearly a pick by South Florida at the 30. So immediately in this football game, USF forces a 3-and-out.
No, that's not what they wanted to accomplish on this first series. You want to get your quarterback some confidence, give him some easy throws. And coaches talked about how they're going to have to do some creative things to get people open because USF is such a good defense.
Evan Landy, who is doubled as a tight end and a wide receiver, wears number 9. And he is back to take the punt. And it's one with the wind as Landy fields at the 30. Makes one man miss and then stumbles his way up to the 39. It's a 47-yard punt and a return of 9, and the Bulls get a crack on offense for the first time. Led by number 7, B.J. Daniels, who this season has already thrown for almost 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns, and has also run for 3 scores. And we highlighted him, Christian, in our opening, as we already have the first personal foul flag thrown in the game.
Illegal motion. Wide receiver is moving forward at the snap. 5-yard penalty will be assessed from the end of the kick. First down. And
in fact, just an illegal motion call of a 5-yard penalty. We talked about Daniels and his dual threat capabilities, and when we were speaking with the UConn coaches, particularly Don Brown on the defensive side of the ball, they had a lot of concerns for him, and with good reason.
They need to have good eye discipline. They need to be fundamentally sound, good gap integrity. This is a guy that you cannot allow to get outside. Now, you can't have 2 guys in the same lane also. May have a good job of staying in their lanes.
Darrell Scott on the first carry. He had 12 carries for 76 yards against Pitt. He is one of the keys at 238 pounds as a running back. He's a load. South Florida likes to go without the huddle as you take a look at some of the playmakers on this team, including Scott, Love, and Victor Mark. Top receiver is 17, Sterling Griffin. Second play from scrimmage and a big hole for Scott inside the 45 to the 43, where Tymir Brown makes the tackle after a pickup of 12. Back to the South Florida offense, lots of experience, and the anchor is the center, 79, Chaz Hine, the 2-time Big East All-Academic. Ball on the ground, the Bulls recover, but a loss on the play of almost 5.
UConn getting a break on this one because they're having a hard time keeping up with the South Florida offense. On this play, B.J. Daniels, the ball just slips out of his hands. He's doing a great job the first couple series. You don't see that too often. Luckily, he was able to jump on top of it.
Huskies with run defense trying to face Scott, who wiggles his way past the original line of scrimmage to the 37-yard line. Let's take a look at the Huskies on defense, who come with a 4-3, and Kendall Reyes is as good as it gets. He has 10 tackles for losses. That's the best in the Big East Conference. The linebackers typically make the most tackles, Moore, Smallwood, and Johnson. And there in the secondary is the problem. They miss Beatty Ray Wilson, who's out with a knee injury, and that means Jones has got to step up large. 3rd and 7. Huskies come with a blitz, and Daniels finds a receiver. Good enough for a first down inside the 30. He checked down and had Sterling Griffin on the catch. Corey Johnson knocked him out of bounds after a pickup of 16.
You got Jory Johnson, linebacker, 6'1", 227, covering Sterling Griffin. Not the best matchup if you're Don Brown, defensive coordinator for UConn. You want a faster guy on Sterling.
Griffin had 109 yards receiving the loss against Pitt. Back to Scott, and he breaks into that secondary and carries inside the 15.
And this is exactly what UConn does not want to happen. They're allowing Scott to get rolling downhill. The defensive line isn't slowing him down, so he's getting into secondary and the third dairy defensive players. The linebacker's got to make plays, and the secondary has to come up and hit him.
Yeah, Byron Jones, 16 in on the tackle, but if you call his name a lot today, that's a problem for Connecticut, as the steady dose of running plays by Darrell Scott, and add another first down. Yawin Smallman from his middle linebacker spot makes the tackle, but Scott is chewing up yards, and there are some big holes out there, Christian.
And UConn needs to hurry up, get their calls, and get set, get lined up. Everybody needs to find out who they have, because there's going to be a mismatch. You don't want to get lined up wrong.
The delayed handoff to Scott, who negotiates his way inside the 10 and close to the 5-yard line. Jones makes the tackle again, but Scott is meeting that secondary up close and personal on a number of these rushes.
And Scott, he's not, the first person does not tackle him. It's a good job running this veer to the left side. Scott finds the hole, is able to run over defenders. He's a strong man.
7th carry of this drive, and finally dropped for a loss. Setting up a third and still manageable situation, and there's Kendall Reyes with another tackle for loss. That is his 11th of the season.
And that's what UConn is good at, controlling the line of scrimmage, getting a lot of push up front, stopping the running back before he gets going downhill.
This is the most explosive offense in the Big East at over 500 yards a game. Here's the first big play of the afternoon. And all that movement by Daniels eventually leads to a timeout. Whether the crowd affected him or the fact that everybody wasn't on the same page, Daniels burns a timeout. Skip Holtz says that's okay. Let's set up a play that'll get us a score. Yard drive. These two teams start play today trying to get on an uptick in the Big East Conference race, which is led by Rutgers at a 2-0 start. West Virginia idle today. Syracuse as well. They'll face each other in a week. And Pitt playing out of the league against Utah. What do you like on 3rd and goal?
You know, this is a team that can run it and throw it. I'm thinking you have a big back in Scott, who's been grinding it out since the beginning of this series. I say you give it to him and let him do his business.
And in fact, they don't need to get to the end zone. They can get a first down at the 3. It's Scott, and he stood up before he could get to the 5-yard line. So a defense that was bending for most of the field stiffens when it matters the most, and that will force South Florida into a field goal attempt.
I think this is going to prove to be a huge stance by this defense. If they can just limit them to field goals and not give them touchdowns, let them run all over the field, but limit them to field goals, not touchdowns.
Here's one of the best in the country at field goals, Maikon Bonani. And from 23 yards out, the Bulls go ahead 3-0. But if there are such things as moral victories in this game, UConn gets one of them right here with a stand.
I think that's definitely a moral victory for them. A huge stance, goal line stance for UConn.
Daniels elected to use a timeout when they were at the UConn goal line. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, you know, it just shows his maturity as a player. Last year at this time, he was struggling with a lot of game management issues and throwing the ball. This is one of those issues where you're down the goal line, it's 3rd down. Instead of taking a sack or getting a penalty, just regroup, take a timeout. It's early. You had a lot of success driving down this first possession. Very impressed with the way he handled that situation.
He was on the sidelines with the Skip Holtz and also their offensive coordinator, Todd Fitch, and He had a smile on his face before the big play, so he seems to be pretty relaxed here today. Marvin Kloss set to kick off for the second time, and last one he boomed a rocket of 70 yards. This one will be caught by Williams at the 2. Williams will spin move and unable to get to the 20. And a return of 16 yards, and so UConn ready to go on offense again after 3 plays and just 3 yards the first time around.
Well, they're going to need to grind it out and find something that works. The coaches talked about how they have the right scheme. They just need to execute it. And they have a veteran offensive line. And these guys are going to be challenged because South Florida's defensive line is good, especially Corey Grissom, number 46. Big matchup I want you guys to watch. Number 46, Corey Grissom against Mo Petras, 57.
Being a former tight end, you love those wars in the trenches, don't you?
Those are the good battles.
On first down, a solid gain. Lyle McCombs and Kayvon Webster meet, and Webster was the one that returned a fumble for 96 yards and a touchdown against Notre Dame.
And you watch the cutback. You know, if South Florida is going to overplay McCombs to the outside, he's going to have to do a good job of finding that crease and getting it quick because that hole is going to close fast.
General thought, too, for the UConn coaches is that South Florida would load the box today. Maybe 8 or 9.
Just complete disregard for the run. They want to see Johnny McEntee beat them with his arm.
McEntee will throw on this play, and McEntee brought down.
You know, one of the biggest problems they've had this year is protecting the quarterback. Close to 3 sacks a game. They're 104th in the nation in sacks allowed. Johnny McEntee is an accurate quarterback. If you've ever watched YouTube, look him up on YouTube. You can see he can pretty much thread this ball through a needle, but you need to give him some time. Plus, he's a young quarterback. He hasn't been in many situations like this. So it's third down. Let's see if he can make a completion.
Trick shot artist around campus and well known. Third and short, out to the flat, good enough, first down. McEntee to his running back, Lyle McCombs, and Quentin Washington credited with his second tackle on a short but effective gain of 4 yards.
That's a great job of him recognizing the play, realizing that he doesn't need a lot, give it to his fullback in the flat, let him get a nice easy yardage.
And one way to keep that high-powered South Florida offense off the field is by moving the football yourself. Scott McCummings is the Wildcat quarterback who's carried 33 times this year for 94 yards. He's also thrown for 94 as well. He's carrying the football, and South Florida able to hold him up for maybe a gain of 1.
They're going to put McCummings in there, in and out of this game, try and give different looks, keep South Florida on their toes, have them worry about something else. Now, McCummings hasn't thrown a lot, but he can throw it, and if he's going to throw it to somebody, it's probably going to be to the tight end, Griffin, especially when everybody collapses to stop him from the run. Griffin seems to find his way in the seam every now and then.
When you're bringing a second quarterback, does that ruin the momentum of the first one?
I think, you know, McEntee did a good job in that first 3 plays.
McCombs draws the pile close to the 40-yard line. John Legist up to make the tackle from his strong safety position.
Like we said earlier, the offensive line of UConn has a huge challenge against this South Florida front. These guys are big, they're physical, they're fast. UConn is a veteran offensive line. If they can control the line of scrimmage and slow the game down, control the clock, this game's going to go down to the very end.
You mentioned big for the Bulls. Corey Grissom is 335, Ryan Giddens 262, and McCaskill 289. Doesn't matter on this play, though. They run wide and pick up the first down and move the chains for the second time as Sam Barrington comes in to make the stop.
Yeah, and this is going to help John McEntee. Watch how they hand it off. It's kind of bottled up there, just kicks it to the left, finds the first down. This is going to help McEntee when he's throwing the ball. South Florida is going to have to figure out how to stop the run. It's going to get him some easier matchups on the outside and play-action pass.
Jonathan Jean-Louis making that first down run. You know, McCombs' efforts will get easier as McAtee's able to throw the football, and if McCombs, as you mentioned, can run, that does set up some play-action possibilities. Lyle's numbers for the year are respectable, averaging 4 yards per carry, and he has scored on 4 occasions. But no secret here, the Bulls are going to bring a lot of people. Middle option. First down. McCummings, the backup quarterback, the Wildcat quarterback, stopped by Kayvon Webster for the 3rd first down on this series on a gain of 14.
I got to give the offensive corner George DeLeon. He's doing a great job right now, feeling the flow of the game, implementing different systems, different looks for the South Florida to kind of recognize. Nice job on McCummings running to keep it in himself, getting the first down.
Paul Pasqualoni's team now at the South Florida 42. It's McCombs, stood up by Ryan Givens, number 97. Was the ball loose on the turf? South Florida picked it up, but the ruling is going to be that the running back was down.
Well, I tell you what, that's something that UConn has to be very careful with, because this South Florida team is a ball hawking, get that ball out team. They practice it every day. They emphasize it during film study. What they'll do is they'll grab a guy, they'll rip the ball out of his arms, and then they'll push anybody else away who might be able to grab it so they're able to jump on it.
You only need to pay attention to that Notre Dame game where South Florida forced 5 turnovers and 1 was returned for a score. Fake to McCombs, the quarterback kept by McCummings, and he is blasted at the 40-yard line. 97 Ryan Giddens, the redshirt sophomore at 6'3" and 261. Stood him up.
You got McAtee coming back in the game for a 3rd down play. Now this is where quarterbacks show what they're worth. Can they convert on an obvious passing situation?
Been almost an exclusive run drive so far for the Huskies. 10th play of the drive, 9 on the ground. Penalty flying on the play. The Huskies get the first down inside the 25, but typically.
And that might come back with a holding. Oh, roughing the passer.
Defense.
You can tack out 15 more yards.
Ahead of the quarterback.
So not only does McAtee complete the pass, but they also pick up 15 more.
I think that was, well, I tell you what, quarterbacks get all the breaks, but yes, that is the rule. Stay away from his head no matter what. Hits him with his hand. Ref sees it. Gives him an extra yardage.
Kashif Moore caught the pass, his 20th of the year, and got 14 on the play. First down Huskies at the South Florida 13. Back to McCombs, headed close to the end zone. Kyle McCombs exploded in that secondary, and Jarrell Young might have been the only guy to stop him from reaching the end zone. But he got enough for a first down, so it's 1st and goal.
This is what UConn needs to do. When they get in the red zone, they need to score points. They have a 57% success rate. Last week against West Virginia, they went down there 3 times, but only had 3 field goals. They need to get touchdowns.
You speak of the red zone offense, 5th best in the Big East. From the 1. And McCombs stopped for a loss. How difficult will be to run for the Huskies against this front 4?
This is a big front, and especially Grissom. You're not going to go up the middle, but like we said, this is going to be a battle in the trenches. Right now, it's 2nd and goal, so if you're going to have a throw, this is the time to do it right now. And if you're going to throw it to your tight ends in the corner, fullback in the flat.
This drive has lasted 7.5 minutes. McCummings to keep the football. And no gain on that play either. 97 Ryan Giddens, his 3rd tackle already. of the first quarter.
So now you're stuck in a difficult situation if you're offensive coordinator George DeLeo. You've run it the very first 2 times down the goal line, and they're going to be expecting pass, so you almost have to run it again. But with this big South Florida front, I'm not sure if that's the best thing to do either. So let's see what they do.
Huskies 3 for 3 on 3rd down on this drive. McEntee, quarterback draw, and brought down. It was 1st and goal at the 1. All right, Coach, go for it or kick a field goal.
You know what? It's early in the first quarter. I say that's a win, but this is not what they wanted. But if they get away with 3 points, they'll be happy with it.
Wait a minute, I saw your hand in the booth
saying go. I wanted him to go for it.
David Taggart with a short field goal to match Bonanni's. And we were tied at 3 from 18 yards out. Drive to 8 up more than 8 minutes. Seconds remaining in the first quarter. With a score 3-3, we remind you, attention golfers and club pros, online registration is now open for the 2012 ESPN National Golf Challenge. Log on to ESPNGolf.com and sign up and find a participating course near you. Jim Barber, Christian Fourier, winding down the first quarter after a drive that took 9 minutes, ate up 81 yards, took 16 plays, and finished off by a short field goal by David Taggart of 18 yards. Still, the Huskies had 1st and goal at the South Florida 1.
Well, I would have liked to have seen them throw it on 1st down, but since they ran it on 1st and they ran it again on 2nd, USF kind of knows they're going to try it on 3rd.
Chad Christian kicking off for the Huskies, and the return to begin at the 13. And it's a big one. Inside the Husky 10. Marcus Shaw brought down finally by Gilbert St. Louis after a return of 78.
You can see him just squeak through that interior when all kind of bunched up and everybody was in there. Got some good blocks by his front line. Has enough speed and vision to get through there and get it all the way down.
Kind of spoil some of that momentum you had on the offensive side of the ball if you're UConn.
If UConn now, you're back to the red zone defense. Now for USF, you got these young corners down on the right. Byron Jones, you want to think they would try to exploit it, but you know they're going to try and give him help. So look for A.J. Love or Sterling Griffin.
Short run play by Victor Mark, number 15, and Jesse Joseph, one of the front 4 of UConn, up to make the stop. And this first quarter is just about to be history.
Timeout.
When we return, the Bulls have 2nd and goal from the UConn 7. 3-3 game. Action for the first time in 16 days. And Skip Holtz was saying you never want to go into a bye week after getting thumped by somebody, but that's exactly what happened for South Florida, losing to Pitt, and Ray Graham ran for over 200 yards.
Yeah, but it gave them some time to get back to fundamentals. Said they had a spirited practice. They had ones-on-ones, really got after it, trying to start all over again in the second half of the season.
Bulls mascots into it. Let's see what the Bulls do on 2nd and goal as we start the second quarter. Daniels option. It's loose. UConn's got a chance to bring it back. And the Huskies get the football at the 30. Big time turnover by South Florida. Dwayne Gratz from the quarterback spot, right on the spot to make the big play.
Dwayne Gratz making a great heads-up play, picking this ball up. A little careless with the toss. South Florida can't handle it. Change of possession.
Well, B.D. Ray Wilson, number 5, can't play today, but you just saw him celebrating with his teammates on the sidelines. It was a huge play as UConn prevents South Florida from any points on that drive.
That was a huge shift for UConn. Huge momentum shift for him.
Johnny McAtee, 18, back at quarterback for the Huskies. Here comes the run blitz. McCombs able to find a hole just the same, pick up a couple.
See what South Florida's going to do now. They're going to start bringing those guys into the box, guys like Quentin Washington, trying to make sure that they take away the #1 thing that they do best, which is run the football, make it difficult for them to throw the ball on 3rd down.
And to this point, Christian, McCombs has 7 carries for 31 yards. From the gun, McCombs again. Moves the pile forward a couple more yards, maybe 3. It'll set up a 3rd and short. Wow, McCombs not particularly big. In fact, he's listed at 5'8". But he's the type of runner, when you talk to coaches across the country, that doesn't dance the backfield. He goes straight at you.
And that's what they want him to do. No dancing. Put your foot in the ground and get upfield.
In fact, he gains a lot of respect from opposing defensive coordinators who say he's an old-style type of runner. Huskies 3 for 5 on 3rd down, make it 4 out of 6. Nick Williams, the hero against Buffalo a few weeks ago, wide open for that catch up at the 44-yard line.
You know, the reason McAtee's going to be successful today with these nice, short, easy 3rd down, 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s, nice little spot right there by Williams sitting down, making the throw. And if he puts that on him, Williams might have a chance to run for it. He's dangerous because he's one of those good guys on kickoff return too.
And this offense is eating up a lot of clock, which is in UConn's favor. Back to McCombs, trying to negotiate his way through, and he has stood up at the 45, but every play runs off another 25 to 35 seconds, and that, I would think, Christian, shortens the game to UConn's advantage.
So that's exactly what they want to do. They want to win the time of possession, and you see that last play, Mo Petrus against Corey Grissom. Corey Grissom won that one. 2 big bodies going at it. They said they're going to put Grissom right on the nose, right on Petrus's nose, and see how they battle out.
Grissom at 335, Petrus at 302. 10 carries already for McCombs. Here's play action. And McAtee brought down. Ryan Giddens, he seems like he lives in that backfield.
Yeah, and the one thing about McAtee is he is not a scrambler. He is a classic pocket passer. Give him time, he can make every throw. Give him a little pressure, ask him to run, and he's not going to be able to do it.
Third and 13. Bulls rush 4, inside handoff McCombs. They put it on the floor, the ball is loose. South Florida says it has it, and the Bulls do. Corey Grissom on the football, number 46.
Now, I'm not sure if they knocked this ball out or if he just dropped it when he had the handoff. Yep, pops it right out there. Ryan Giddens pops it out of there just like they teach him to do in practice. Changes the momentum again, going back and forth here in this game.
Each team now with a turnover, and that's what South Florida does best, which is force mistakes. From the 35, back to Scott, who gains a couple. Darryl Scott, who was out of football for almost 2 seasons after transferring from Colorado. He said the first game against Notre Dame was a little over-anxious, but since then, coordinator Todd Fitch has talked to him about not trying to run 100 yards on every play, and he seems to be picking it up nicely. Out of the backfield, Scott in the catch. Makes a one-man miss and gets inside the 30.
The thing about Scott is if you give him the ball and you give him time to get his legs moving, to get his pads underneath him and start running downhill, he is a beast to tackle. He is a big boy. 240 pounds, 6'1". He can catch it out of the back. But what he needs to do if he wants to be a complete back is learn to make people miss. Doesn't need to take all that abuse all the time, but some guys just have that mentality in them.
South Florida 43% on third downs, setting up a little bubble screen, and it got blown up. Trevardo Williams from his defensive end spot got the deflection, and that stops what could have been a big play.
Trevardo Williams, Jr. out of Bridgeport, Connecticut, does an excellent job of getting his fingers on this play because this could have gone to the house. Trevardo Williams has a motor. The one thing the coaches were worried about, South Florida's coaches, is about how fast and how quickly he got off the ball.
Maicon Bonani, whose range is terrific, over 50 yards, will try one from 46. It's a rarity, but he missed. And the score remains 3-3. So victory for the Huskies defense. And now the offense takes over early into the second quarter. Factor that may have factored in on Bonani's miss just moments ago. He's now 9 for 13 on the season. Where South Florida won the toss, deferred, hoping to get the win to its advantage when we get to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, their coaches were talking about Bonani being able to hit it from 54 with his wind at his back, so that could be a factor later on in the game.
In the meantime, Huskies get the ball back from their own 29 in a 3-3 game. Here comes the blitz. McEntee's not going to be able to escape it.
See, this is the type of situation for a young quarterback where he needs to reset the offense, realize that the corner blitz is coming, get himself into a better play. Now, an experienced quarterback sees that, settles down, and calls something else. McEntee, having so little reps as a starting quarterback, this is a guy who was on the scout team for 3 years, finally gets an opportunity to play, but he's going to be better once he's able to see that and adjust out of it.
On that play, Sam Barrington credited with the sack and a loss of 4. Back to the Wildcat quarterback, Scott McCummings. And they get those 4 yards back and a few to go along with it. John Legist up to make the tackle on Lyle McCombs.
You know, going back to that sack, that's one of those situations where it's first down, you know you're calling a pass play. You survey the field, you see what happens, you see a corner starting to creep in. You got to know that something's up. You got to be able to see that blitz. Somebody's going to be matched up one-on-one. You got to be able to read it and make a play.
What do you like here on third down?
I think they need to go to the guys that they're Mr. Dependable, Moores, the 2 Moores.
McEntee steps up, fires a rocket, and it's dropped. Intended for Isaiah Moore, 83, and he knew he should have caught it.
Well, I have here written on my board that I have up here in the press box, Mr. Dependable. This guy is sure-handed. You throw it to him 100 times, he's going to catch 99 of them. That's the one that he would drop. He's going to be a factor in this game. Look for him to throw to him again. Not going to give up on that kid.
Landy back to receive a Cole Wagner punt. Inside the 25, he almost lost the football. Penalty flag on the play. Nice return across the 35, but this may be marked off against South Florida as Corey Manning makes the special teams tackle on a punt of 43 yards.
On the return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Any penalty flag during a return typically is against the team that's trying to return. Still 3-3. Was torched a couple of weeks ago by Ray Graham and Pitt. It is a ball hawking defense, as Christian mentioned, that forces turnovers and many in number. This has been his style as a coach for many years in other places, and he's brought it to a South Florida place where there's a lot of speed on defense.
You owe that to recruiting. Skip Holtz being able to get out there in those areas and get those fast guys in that the Miami area.
Plenty of talent to choose from, as everyone knows. On the rollout, B.J. Daniels. Incomplete.
That's a throw that B.J. Daniels has to give his receiver a better opportunity to catch that ball now. You still should catch it. Anytime it touches your hands, you can catch it. But Daniels could do him a favor and make it a lot easier because he wasn't pressured and the man was wide open.
Intended for the tight end, Mike McFarland, 86. And some movement on the left side. Mark Popek, the left tackle, 74. Who has a redshirt freshman, made 5 starts last year for the Bulls. And South Florida now deeper in its own territory. Empty backfield, Daniels to keep the football. Daniels makes a couple of people miss, but he's not going anywhere. The Bulls are known for a swarming defense, but how about the Huskies so far today?
You know, we talked about this right when the game started, being able to stay in your lanes, using good eye discipline, because you know this is a guy that can run. He's going to take it down. Nobody gives up on their lanes, because it gives him nowhere to go. If everybody worries about their house from burning down, then nobody has to worry about him sneaking out and getting a big play.
That was Twan Martin, who's a Florida kid, that made the tackle. 3rd and 16. And the Bulls must punt from their own end zone. A UConn team that gave up over 900 yards the last 2 weeks throwing the football has held South Florida to a standstill so far.
They've had 3 straight 500-yard games. It's Ball State, FAMU, UTEP.
Rugby-style kick. It's a low-line drive. That will take a Bulls bounce up to the 48-yard line. A punt of 38 yards with great field position for UConn. Halfway through the second quarter. Of championships, as you know, from men's and women's basketball, include track and field in that as well. Saluted moments ago, Rentschler Field. Last night, both the men's and women's teams got busy at the Pavilion.
Midnight Madness.
To a crowd of over 10,000 and a sellout.
But did you stay up to watch it?
Of course. Actually, I was set to travel here. But I'll see the Huskies on both sides, men and women's, as we get into Big East basketball play. UConn from midfield on first down to Combs. Give him a first down to the South Florida 35-yard line. John Legist up from the strong safety spot after pickup of 12.
Offense did a great job opening up the holes. Ryan Griffin did a great job on the wham block on the nose tackle. This is what we're talking about, this UConn offensive line, including their tight ends, including their fullbacks, win the line of scrimmage, push around these big defensive linemen of USF.
A look at 57, Mo Petrus. Back to McCombs.
They ran the same exact play. They just ran it the other way. This time, South Florida gets wise to it, still get a good chunk of yardage, and that's just what they want. See, for UConn, if they get 3 or 4 yards on first down, that's a win for them. Puts them in a position for second down to get 3 or 4 yards. Then it gets them in an easy passing situation, and Johnny McEntee can excel.
UConn has a total of 96 yards today. How about South Florida averaging over 500 a game with just 48? Play fake. And McEntee swallowed up back at the 43. The ball is also loose. Was the play blown dead? 4th South Florida sack, and the football goes back to the Bulls. McEntee got swarmed. 46 Grissom there among others.
You see the guy coming right at you. Put both hands on the ball. I mean, I'm not sure if that's a fumble. I feel like the ball got knocked out when he hit the ground.
So you're saying this is a play that should be reviewed?
No, it comes out.
Yep.
Great job by South Florida doing what they do best, is knocking the ball out. And UConn giving up sacks. They average 3 sacks a game. They're 104th in the nation in sacks allowed. And also that comes down to quarterback play. You got to know you got to put 2 hands on that football so you don't lose it, especially if you're going down.
Second UConn mistake. South Florida back on offense, a huge hole. Darryl Scott explodes across midfield. Jerome Jr. finally brought him down. A pickup of 11, and finally some offense to speak of for the Bulls, who prior to that again had 18 plays for a total of 48 yards.
Scott, big bruising running back, almost making one guy miss and making it even go farther.
Here's Daniels throwing out to the flat. And that ball is caught at the 37-yard line.
Now you're going to see South Florida ramp it up a little bit, get this offense to the line as quick as possible, force UConn to set their defense, hopefully make the wrong call, find somebody sleeping, get a big play.
Stephen Bravo Brown with a catch. And this may be under review. Jeff McConaughey is our referee today. Replay is handled by Michael Semcheski. They're all a Big East crew. And you can judge at home or wherever you're watching, whether it's a catch or not.
See a different angle, see if he gets his hands on it. Can't tell. But he's acting like he caught it. That's the most important thing. When in doubt, make the ref believe you have it.
As a tight end at Colorado with the Super Bowl champion Patriots, I assume you did that more than once.
I never dropped a pass.
Oh, really?
Especially when it was in doubt. If you're going to catch that ball, and even if you know you dropped it, stand up, put the ball in the air, hand it to the ref, because they're going to think, oh, okay, he caught it.
The rolling on the field stands. Completed pass. First down.
Well, there you go.
Ty always goes with the runner.
Football to the 36-yard line. Visiting white uniforms, green pants belong to the Bulls of South Florida. Paul Pasqualoni is the coach of UConn. And his team on defense right now is trying to stop the Bulls in a game that's featured a number of turnovers, a missed field goal, and very little yardage. In other words, a defensive struggle.
And so far, for the most part, UConn has really held B.J. Daniels in check as far as his ability to run. Now, Scott, on the other hand, that's a guy that needs to stop running downhill. But B.J. Daniels, they said they're not going to allow him to beat him with his legs.
Yeah, with the sacks today, 4 carries, a -12. Daniels out to the flat. Good save pass. Good open field tackle made. As Joey Johnson comes up to make the stop. He's number 28. We greet you today from the University of Connecticut in a real defensive war. It's 3-3. Jim Barber and Christian Fourier with 4:45 left. First half and a big play on 3rd down.
They're going to spread him out to 3rd down receiver.
Bulls will use a timeout. Right now, 3rd down, just 1 of 4. What kind of play do you like here?
Well, their go-to guy is Sterling Griffin, and UConn's best defender is Dwayne Gratz over on the corner position. So you know that matchup's one they don't want. But what you would think they would do is try and attack Byron Jones. But what UConn has been doing is protecting him with Tymir Brown over the top, Jerome Jr. protecting him. But it's 3rd down. You're going to spread him out. There's going to be a matchup that Daniels likes. So you look at his tight end, Ivan Landy. Here's a big, tall receiver, 6'3", 227, used to play quarterback, moved him to wide receiver. Now he's playing tight end. Quarterbacks like the fact that he can go up and get the ball. You gotta like Victor Mark in the slot. But Landy's out on the top of your screen. Second in.
Empty backfield for South Florida. Yep. Red clock at 5. Daniels on the roll and throwing. Picked off. Number 40, Tymir Brown, who picked one off in a game recently against West Virginia and took it back to the house. And each team now with a couple of turnovers.
We talked about it right before the ball was snapped, trying to go to Landy, the big tight end, have him go up and get it. Tymir Brown reads it, gets underneath him. Great job of catching that ball. This is a huge momentum shift. We talked about Brown being able to be in plays with run coverage and in pass coverage. Excellent job by him finding that ball, catching it, and making a play.
If Daniels changed the play at the line of scrimmage, how much did that affect the play?
He obviously saw a matchup that he liked and decided to go with Landy on the throw, but Brown made a great play on it.
Huskies back with the football. We remain tied at 3. Huge hole on first down. Lyle McCombs, his 15th carry, now 69 yards rushing. Jarrell Young, their 5th-year senior, up to make the stop. Timeout situation. All 3 timeouts remain for the Huskies. McEntee on the delayed draw. And McCombs with a handoff up to the 35. As we're under 4 minutes for the first half of Michael Linares there to greet him.
Now, what hasn't happened for McEntee so far, but what I think they're building up to, is the fact that they're being able to run the ball through draws, through straight wham plays with the tight ends blocking the nose. Look out for the play action pass coming on 1st and 2nd down, because this is the opportunity. South Florida has all the guys up. There's not one guy back containing anything in the back end of the field.
McEntee to throw. Fires a rocket up to the 38-yard line.
And there's your play action pass on 2nd down.
To Isaiah Moore, Kayvon Webster with a tackle. Yeah, the Moore gang of Kashif and Isaiah, the principal receivers, as that is the 10th first down in the game for UConn. Huskies have run 26 plays on the ground, just 7 through the air, and they've been able to do, really, Christian, what they'd hoped to do, which is run the ball.
Run the ball, eat up a bunch of time off the clock, establish the line of scrimmage on your offensive line, and that's what they're doing.
McCombs trying to read his way through the defense as the play stretches out. He is stopped after a gain of 2, and a flag comes in.
Holding. Offense. Number 71. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Mike Ryan, in his 28th career start, the left tackle, is guilty of a holding call.
Mike Ryan, 2010 All Big East first team. He is a landmark on that left side. If they need a job, if they need a good job running the ball, that's the side they're going to go to. Sometimes, you know, your hand might slip, it might accidentally stay in there. So now it's 1st and 20, and they need to just get at least half of this back.
Time of possession. UConn doubling up South Florida. 1st and 20. McCombs a little stutter step past the 35. Quentin Washington all the way up for the cornerback spot. And that's not unusual because they are bringing a lot of people up in the box.
Yeah, but I'm real impressed with this UConn offense, with their ability to move the line of scrimmage. And you look at big Mike Ryan right after the holding call, getting on the linebackers and moving them around. They're getting the chunks of yardage that they want.
Ryan, a Lombardi Award candidate. Play action. First down. Inside South Florida territory and a strike to Isaiah Moore.
Now Isaiah Moore coming off that big drop earlier in the game. He's now caught 2 passes since then. You can see that McEntee's really feeling, and they're in sync right now. Now we knew that play action was going to be key. McEntee's able to set his feet, step into the throw. You know he's accurate. All they have to do is give him some time.
The center, 57, Mo Petrus, allowing for some time on that play. To the flat. Ball caught, out of bounds. Clock stopped with 1:18 remaining in the first half.
That's about as good of a throw as you're going to see in college football. And I'd put that throw up against any of the great quarterbacks in college football right now. Throw it to the wide side of the field on a deep out. Hits him in stride. He's able to drag his feet. That's an excellent throw by McEntee.
And that is the 3rd catch by receiver Isaiah Moore.
Pass is under further review.
25 for the season. But Jeff McConaughey, the referee, informs us this is under review.
I don't know what they're looking at. It looks like he got 3 feet in.
Which would be very unusual.
I mean, but look at the way he threw that ball. He might have juggled it a little bit towards the end. I think that's what they're talking about.
You think he lost
But he
possession
had both feet down before he juggled the ball out of bounds. So we're going to see how they interpret this play.
Doesn't seem like he lost control of the ball, though.
No, I think he had it. But I'm talking about Johnny McEntee right now and how impressed I am with the way he's able to throw the ball right now. Let's take another look at it. He catches it clean. Now you look at Webster, he might have been able to, the cornerback for South Florida was able to come in at the last second with his left arm, his right arm, and just kind of jiggle it loose a little bit just to have a little bit of doubt in the ref's mind.
Of course, the ball comes loose when he's well out of bounds. Let's see what the ruling is.
Replay confirms the ruling on the field of a completed pass. 2nd down.
So if you're offensive coordinator George DeLeon, you've got to be happy with your options right now. You're controlling the line of scrimmage on offense. Your quarterback is making throws like you knew he could make. All you got to do is give him a little time, get 2 or 3 yards on 1st and 2nd down. You're controlling the clock like you want it to, and you're in this game at 3-3 in the 2nd quarter.
And getting into field goal range with time running out. Combs with his 18th carry of the first half, and Ryan Giddens up to meet him.
Now they're going to have to hurry it up a little bit because the time is running out.
UConn still has all 3 timeouts remaining. On 1st down, McEntee out of the backfield throws, and Moore with the catch. That's Isaiah Moore to the 30, and right now they are definitely in range for David Taggart. Here comes the blitz. He picks it up. And a good safety valve pass. Good enough to McCombs to get out of bounds and stop the clock with 49 seconds to go.
I don't know why McCombs went out of bounds on that one. It seemed like he had an extra 2-3 yards to run to get the 1st down. Just caught it and went out of bounds. I mean, you got to get as far forward as you can and go out of bounds at the last second. I know you're trying to save time on the clock, but give yourself a fresh set of downs if you can.
Got to know where the chains are, correct?
Got to know where the chains are. Have awareness.
3rd and 2. Jonathan John Louis. Ball good enough for 1st down.
And he put a wallop on number 8, John Legeist, when he went through that line.
This drive now has reached the 23-yard line, and this is the 11th play of the drive. McEntee on a little fade route. Nobody there. Out of bounds at the 5, and the clock stops with
holding offense. Number 71. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
35 seconds left, and that's the 2nd time that Mike Ryan has been guilty of holding.
Yeah, you're not going to see that from him too often. But I tell you what,
there are 2 fouls in play. Illegal formation on the offense. 5 players in the backfield's decline. Will enforce the holding foul. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
David Taggart does have the win to his advantage. if they are forced to attempt a field goal, but all 3 timeouts still remain for the Huskies. At halftime, the Beast, LSU quarterback Tyrann Mathieu.
The Honey Badger.
First half highlights the stats, and they take you around the conference, which has been in much conversation recently. McAtee setting up a screen, and that should have been picked off. Ryan Giddens with the big mitts at 6'3" and 262, and that would have been the 3rd Husky turnover.
Yeah, coming at the wrong time. The one thing you do, draws, screens, sniffs it out, able to put his big paw out there. It's actually Keith McCaskill on the play.
Here come the Bulls. Pressure picked up by the backfield, and that deflected. And a penalty
We're going to
flag.
get a penalty, roughing the passer.
Wow.
Roughing the passer. Personal foul.
South Florida is coming after Johnny McAtee right now.
First down.
I mean, they are bringing everybody. Offensive line doing a decent job, giving him some time. McAtee staying in the pocket, able to step up, make the throw. His arm gets hit. It's a break for UConn on this play.
Skip Holtz doesn't understand why the call was made.
Changing penalties.
And that's the 4th penalty on the Bulls for 42 yards. Puts the football down to the 18 and gives McAtee a couple of cracks in the end zone.
Don't take anything, don't do anything careless with the football. You're already down there. There you go. Perfect. Take the sack.
Really, in a loss of 11.
Take the sack. The last thing we need, well, the last thing UConn needs is a fumble, an interception.
Should be a 30-second timeout.
I realize it's not the most ideal thing, but the most important thing is for him to keep the ball in his hand. We saw earlier in the game, the same exact sack, he lost the ball, turnover, lost an opportunity to move the ball down the field.
Don't think he had time to throw that one away?
You have 2 choices. Throw it away, which is the most important thing to do. Just get it out of your hands and at least keep your down and distance. But in this case, with a young quarterback, that's a win for him. That's a win.
Loss of 11 brings the ball back to the 29. Still, Taggart is within range here.
You know, you talk to offensive coordinator George DeLeon, and he says
Please reset the game clock.
a lot of the
21
situations
seconds.
McAtee gets himself into, since he's so young and has such little experience, it's the first time he sees it. So every game that he plays, he should be able to reset himself, remember what happened, and not make the same mistake. The key to a good quarterback is not to be an error repeater. Now, if that same blitz comes, he's got to know to get rid of it in a hurry.
Steps up in the pocket and throws, and that nearly was picked off. Avon Webster, number 6. Well, South Florida, with both Giddens and Webster, they both feel like they should have made picks.
Now, if you're if you're a Pasqualoni head coach, you got to be saying to yourself, listen, I want at least 3 points, so they're probably going to run this, get it in an easy position for Taggart to come in there and make the kick, get the 3 points. But don't go backwards and don't give him the ball. Whoever has the ball, put 2 hands on it. I wouldn't be surprised if McAtee just snapped the ball, moved to his right, put it in the middle of the field, and gave Taggart an easier angle to make the
Should be a
kick.
30-second timeout.
Huskies are going to use the first of 3 timeouts in the first half. They're facing a 3rd and 21 from the 29-yard line, and should the ball be spotted on 4th down at that position, Taggart would be attempting roughly a 46-yarder. Skip Holtz on a return to Connecticut was the head coach here. Well, the Huskies were Division I AA, got them into the playoffs in '98, really ignited this community. Joined Division I, FBS, built a new stadium in '03. In the meantime, Skip was on to South Carolina, then to East Carolina, now to South Florida. He told us earlier this week. Got a lot of friends in this area, and many of them were planning on attending the game. This is his 2nd homecoming of the year. The first one was as a former alum, actually current alum of Notre Dame when they played the Irish. McAtee stepping up and throwing, and incomplete to Taggart.
I'm really surprised that they allowed him to be in the shotgun to throw that pass.
Thought it was too risky, huh?
Too risky for him at this point. He's doing a lot of good things in this game so far, but right now you just got to assume, get the ball in a good position for your kicker, who is usually money, to give him some 3 points and the lead at halftime.
David Taggart has beaten South Florida back-to-back years in the final moments. This from 46 for the lead.
Just one guy that South Florida does not want to see.
He's the Mariano Rivera.
He
knows how to close them out.
Last year, big kick against South Florida to give UConn a share of the Big East title and send them to the Fiesta Bowl. As you remember, last year, UConn was struggling in the beginning of the year, went ahead and won a bunch of games to get them in position. Pitt fell off towards the end of the year. South Florida couldn't win it. It seemed like nobody wanted to win the Big East last year. UConn said, well, I got Jordan Todman, I got a good offensive line. Let's go. Got a good kicker.
Nothing like starting league play last year at 0-2 and still making one of the biggest bowls. A 15-play, 52-yard, 4.5-minute drive. Time of possession overwhelmingly in favor of UConn today. And that very deliberate offense of the Huskies has resulted in a pretty good defense as well, keeping South Florida's offense off the field. Just seconds remaining in the first half. Couple of flags come in. And a run stops at the 36, and the first half should be over.
Holding during the return, number 12. That's the end of the half.
Huskies in the midst of 4 of 5 at home. And on the strength of 2 field goals and a solid defense, have a lead over South Florida at the break by a score of 6-3. Our game today have done all the scoring. David Taggart, 38 for UConn, 28 Maikon Bonani for South Florida. And might they factor in when we get down to the finish in this game, as the last 2 have been decided by the toe of number 38, Mr. Taggart.
Well, I tell you what, though, you need to be really careful with South Florida because they can score quick. They have scored in the first 4 minutes in 4 of its first 5 games this season. So you know that's going to show that they can, if they do get an opportunity and UConn kind of settles in and doesn't be careful, it's do the same thing they did in the first half, they're going to be in trouble.
By the way, that's a very impressive
Oh,
resume.
look at that. Look at me. Colorado's struggling this year, too.
I know when you heard that Darrell Scott left Colorado, you must have been in tears.
I know that was a huge recruit that we got in Colorado when he got there. And when I saw that he left, you know, you see how good he's doing for South Florida.
Now, as a 13-year NFL veteran, you and Vinny Testaverde have that record, right?
People love this.
2 oldest guys to combine on a touchdown.
The oldest quarterback to receiver combination. I think Vinny was like 59 at the time. I think I was 36. I give it more on him than me.
First half numbers, the time of possession is the key statistic. That's at the bottom of this graphic. 20 minutes and change for Connecticut with a football, under 10 for South Florida. And total number of yards has been striking. The South Florida Bulls, who average over 500 yards a game, aren't anywhere in the neighborhood of that to this point.
But this is a Paul Pasqualoni dream of a first half right now. Controlling the line of scrimmage, eating up all the clock, out-rushing them. He's able to throw the ball with McAtee. They're converting third downs. South Florida, on the other hand, they got to find a way to keep the chains moving. They're 1 for 5 on third downs. And you can't really get into a rhythm if you're a quarterback. I don't care how good your offense is or how many points you're scoring and yardage you're racking up. If your quarterback isn't into a rhythm, he's not seeing the game, it's not going to do any good what play you call.
Bulls have had 16 days off since the loss at Pitt. Certainly hoping to have played better offensively, but Don Brown, the defensive coordinator of the Huskies, part of that staff that totals 169 years of experience for Connecticut. made a difference at least through 2 quarters. Now, we'll see if B.J. Daniels is able to break loose in the second half. When they met earlier, 2 years ago actually, Daniels threw for 3 touchdowns, a combined 240 yards. Today, he has passing and throwing just 20.
UConn has to make sure they don't sleep on the South Florida offense, because they can score quick and they can score a lot of points. And they can make the big play too.
And the Huskies also missed a scoring opportunity where they had to settle for a field goal, but had first and goal at the South Florida 1. Jack Christian set the kickoff. And the Bulls to collect from about their own 5. South Florida will start the offense from the 25-yard line. Chris Lopes up to make the tackle on Lindsey Lamar, number 5, who's been used on special teams and also as a wide receiver. In fact, he was the top special teams player in the conference last year.
You put him in the slot, he's so fast and quick. Put him on those little sit routes. The quarterback can find him. He can catch that ball, make one person miss, and he will take it to the house.
See how South Florida elects to attack UConn here in the 3rd quarter. To the air quickly to Griffin. Caught and down to the 32-yard line. Sterling Griffin, who in the first half had 1 catch. Joey Johnson there to make the stop.
Nice easy throw, easy read for B.J. Daniels. Gets a nice block from Victor Mark. Picks up 6.
Huskies come with a corner blitz. Little screen pass out to the flat, good enough for a first down. So 2 passes. Second one to Victor Mark, able to get the football past the 40-yard line, and a gain of 9. Yawin Smallwood, part of that linebacker core that makes a lot of tackles for UConn, was there.
You know that the middle of the field is tough to run against with Kendall Reyes and Twan Martin in there. Getting the ball on the perimeter is a good way to get those guys in space and get them running.
2 throws for South Florida to start the second half, and now a 3rd. Sterling Griffin with a catch inside the 40, down to the 37-yard line. A pickup of 23.
That's 3 plays. That's 3 completions. 2 quick screens to the left, to the right. Now he's going to go downfield to Sterling Griffin, Mr. Dependable. This guy didn't even play last year. Makes a nice catch.
Consider that Daniels completed 4 passes in the first half. He has already completed 4, Christian, to start the second half.
Well, you know that the South Florida went into halftime and said, listen, we're going to have a hard time running up the middle with these big defensive linemen for UConn. So what they decided to do is get the ball out on the perimeter to their playmakers on space and let those guys eat up the yardage.
First running play of the second half for the Bulls. Now, if you're UConn, how are you going to defend this hurry-up offense?
You know, you got to get in these guys' face. And the most important thing if you're a defense going against a hurry-up offense is getting the calls from the sideline, getting lined up. Because what South Florida wants to do is catch you in the wrong coverage, find a guy that's uncovered, and get a big play out of it, or just get guys out of the lanes. UConn has to keep that eye discipline key because they do not want to find themselves out of position.
Bulls just 1 for 5 on 3rd down. Griffin, little pick play, still with a football inside the 15 and down to the 13-yard line, where Seal Moore was able to make the tackle, but not until a gain of 16. And Daniels is clicking with his receiver here in the second half.
He's throwing that ball out in the perimeter like we talked about. Quick missile screen, getting good blocks by A.J. Love, able to free his receivers up and get positive yardage.
63 yards on this drive. Running to the near side of the field is Darrell Scott.
Now they got UConn on their heels right now.
Holding. Offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty. First down.
And Chaz Hine will negate a short run and some of the momentum with a holding call.
But right now, offensive coordinator Todd Fitch for South Florida is doing a great job calling plays. He's got UConn on their heels, guessing where the ball is going, getting down the perimeter, sneaking in the run with Scott at the same time.
On 1st and 20. Daniels out of the pocket and on the roll. Inside the 10. Still going with the football to the end zone. Touchdown. $22 yards for B.J. Daniels. They did a great job of containing him in the first half. Not so to start the second.
You have to honor his ability to run the whole first half. UConn did a great job of keeping him in the pocket, shutting down all the lanes and not allowing him to run. And what do? The first possession of the first half, let him get out of contain and score a touchdown.
First touchdown of our game. And the 4th rushing touchdown for Daniels against the Connecticut Huskies. Over the 2 games he has played against them. Quarterback 5 for 5 on that drive. And after just 32 yards throwing the ball in the first half, 62 already in the second half. And he ran for a touchdown and has put South Florida in the lead at 10-6.
UConn did a great job in the first half of not letting him run, not letting him break contain, keeping him corralled, collapsing the pocket, not giving him anywhere to run. And the second half, South Florida goes in, changes their game plan, decides they're going to throw the ball in the perimeter. UConn doesn't adjust, and then they allow B.J. Daniels to break free. Gets a great block by Lindsey Lamar on that last play. Comes off his route, finds a guy to block, and frees up Daniels.
Nick Williams from the 5. They're brought down at the 21. B.J. Daniels had 3 rushing touchdowns as a redshirt freshman against the Huskies. And after being contained almost the entire first half, he's on the move again.
They get good push up front, but then nobody can make a tackle. And finally, Lamar gets a great block and frees him towards the end. You got to honor his ability to run. You cannot think for a second. You can't, because if they sit on it and they forget that he can run, then he's going to kill you.
Here's Johnny McEntee heading up the Connecticut offense to start the second half and looking to the flat and keeping.
And UConn does not want to turn this game into a track meet. They will not be able to keep up pace if South Florida is able to go up and down the field. They are not built to play catch up. They're built to eat up the clock. Oh, good job by McEntee, realizing that there's nothing there, taking the ball down and just keeping the play alive.
Keith McCaskill credited with a tackle after a gain of 2. Here's McCombs trying to bounce to the outside. Kyle McCombs with 81 yards in the first half on 18 carries.
Now, if you're Mark Snyder for South Florida, you realize that the guy that's been killing you is McCombs, so you can't let him get going either. Got to push the pocket, control the line of scrimmage, get those big boys up there, causes some havoc.
UConn efficient on 3rd down in the first half, 5 of 10. Need to pick up 3 yards. McEntee, complete midfield, first down. For a pickup of 21. Kashif Moore with a catch. Kayvon Webster to bring him down.
Again, McEntee, offensive line, great job giving him pressure. There's a nice big lane there for him to throw it into Moore. Moore finds the hole, catches it with his hands. Big 3rd down play.
Well, we're seeing, Christian, these offenses opening up nicely here in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, they're doing exactly what they want to do. Both sides of the ball competing on the offensive line, defensive side.
The Wildcat quarterback's got a receiver. McCummings on a little floater to Griffin inside the 20.
We talked about Scott McCummings coming into the play, and their same exact play was run against Fordham University when they opened up play. Griffin caught the ball up the seam. Great play fake by McCummings. Griffin goes up the seam, kind of underthrows and he bobbles it, but he's able to catch it, bring it in. We knew that play action was going to be a key in this game. Griffin comes up with a great play.
Looks like a little freeze option there. Griffin 4 catches, 60 yards. Huskies trying to match South Florida's touchdown with one of their own. Here's McCombs trying to read the defense and work behind the pile, and able to get to the 15 before Corey Grissom brings him down.
There's that same wham play that they ran in the first half with Griffin coming to block the big nose tackle, trying to free up McCombs right up the middle of the gut. South Florida, big Corey Grissom. The key for him in that whole defensive line is to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage.
Out of LaGrange, Georgia. Combs with his 20th carry. Back to the ground again, and close to the stick. Well, you know you've got 3 from David Taggart. That's an automatic here, but you can't launch field goals in this game to have a chance.
South Florida is not getting off their blocks. UConn is doing an excellent job of sticking and staying, not letting the South Florida defensive lineman get off block and able to make plays. And McCombs is able to get through the line and get positive yards. Now it's 3rd down, it's red zone. Can you get a 3rd down? Can you find the open hole? The windows are tighter. Everything happens faster.
Typically defenders like to jump the routes. McAtee up in the air. Incomplete, intended for 94 Griffin.
He had McCombs in the flat, wide open. Probably could have gotten an easy throw, but Griffin was open. Also, you got to make that catch when they're sticking it in there. Red zone production is always harder. Everybody's a little more tense, a little more uptight. The windows are smaller. Everything happens faster.
David Taggart for his 3rd field goal. This one would be of 28 yards. UConn would have preferred 7, settles for 3. Almost halfway through the 3rd quarter. Homecoming in New England. And the Huskies hanging right in there with the Bulls. David Taggart's 3rd field goal moments ago brings Connecticut within a point, 10-9. And for Taggart, 3 of 3 today and 12 of 17 for the season. And don't you get a feeling that potentially it comes down to either him or Bonani to win this game?
Well, Taggart won it last year in South Florida. And we talked about it earlier in the show. That's the last person South Florida wants to see because he broke their heart last year. And UConn ended up going to the Fiesta Bowl, play Oklahoma. But you got 2 of the best kickers in college football. And if it's going to be a kicker's duel, there's not 2 other guys I'd rather see duke it out.
By the way, that was 24 DJ Shoemake, a little bit of the dance routine there. From the goal line. Lamar on the return past the 15. Jonathan Jean-Louis with a tackle.
Now I'm interested to see how UConn comes out and plays defense. South Florida came out the first series of the second half, throwing it out in the perimeter, missile screens, throwing it downfield. UConn couldn't adjust to it. They went right down and scored. Now, are they going to play press? Is that what South Florida wants them to do? And if they do play press, you got to make sure they stay on their man and not let him free.
Rentschler Field in East Hartford, Connecticut. Our venue today for homecoming. Jim Barber and Christian Fourier for South Florida and UConn in the Big East. Lots of turnovers in the first half. The second half has featured a very efficient South Florida offense, leading to a touchdown, and UConn answering with a field goal. Daniels to give up the football again. Penalty flag comes down.
UConn is doing an excellent job right up in the middle and not allowing anything between the tackles.
Offense, number 55. 10-yard penalty, second down.
It's on Jeremiah Warren, number 55. This has hardly been a mistake-free game, particularly on the Bull side, with a couple of turnovers and some penalties that have really mattered. The 7th, by the way, today for 70 yards.
Not sure why South Florida is going back to run the ball on the inside where they know that's the toughest thing to do. They need to keep the ball out on the perimeter and make UConn make plays in space.
On that previous drive, B.J. Daniels was 5 for 5. He gives to Scott. Ball is loose. That's going to be a touchdown for the Huskies. Byron Jones, much maligned over the last couple of weeks, is the big man on campus.
Well, the plus about being a big bruising running back is that you're a big bruising running back. The other thing is that you don't know when to go down, and you got to hold on to the football. Gets through the outside line. UConn gets a hand on it, strips it away. Jones at the right time, at the right place, picks it, scores.
I'm sure the coaching staff is saying good for him, because after that secondary helped give up over 900 yards over a couple of weeks, and this kid has had to step in a tough spot for Bleedy Ray Wilson. Now he comes up with a huge play.
Bleedy Ray Wilson out. He has to come in. Jones has to come in and take up the slack. They really got attacked the last couple of weeks, him in particular. This is a big play for him, boost of confidence. Now you watch. It looks like Twan Martin gets his hands on it and rips it free. And Jones scoop and score for 6. High fives for everybody.
That's usually the MO of South Florida. Get the ball and go.
Nobody's holding on to the ball today.
No, sir.
I mean, both teams have said they've worked on it. South Florida had an extra week to work on it. And if you're a coach, it's so frustrating because you're emphasizing all these rules and you're making a point to point it out every time somebody has a ball. South Florida does a huge job in their film study, pointing it out also.
Well, Skip Holtz has that look of concern, and why not? Bulls, after a good-looking opening drive to start the third quarter, have given up a field goal, and then a return fumble for a touchdown. Christian to kick off. And a return from inside the 5. Marcus Shaw had a terrific return in the first half of 78 yards, is brought down after bringing it back for 19.
Now, if you're Todd Finch, you got to go back to the first series, the first drive of the second half, where you had 75 yards and a touchdown.
And throw the ball, right?
5 for 5. Daniels was with 62 yards, threw it out on the perimeter. The inside with this UConn defense, they're not budging.
Daniels on the play fake to the outside. Ball caught. A solid pickup on first down of 7.
And that's what Daniels is good at. You get him outside the pocket. You let him work off a play fake. You let some of those receivers like Love and Griffin, Mark, let them find the void to sit down. He can make those throws.
It's Love's first catch of the afternoon and evening. Demetrius Murray, 21, the ball carrier. Haven't called his name much so far. He was short of the first down. South Florida hardly efficient on third down. Wait a minute. They have actually ruled a first down. Excuse me.
UConn's doing an excellent job rotating guys in and out, trying to give guys like Reyes and Martin a break. What they're doing is they're making sure they leave Reyes in and Martin out. They're not going to take both of them out at the same time.
Fans here think it's third down, by the way. It is not. They did move the chains at the last moment, and that play blown up at the line of scrimmage.
I was just sitting here thinking to myself, when were we going to be able to say C.O. Moore's name? And right then and there comes up with a great job tipping that ball, timing it at the right second, forcing them into second down. That's a nice job getting his hand on the ball.
First incompletion for B.J. Daniels in the second half, after hitting on 6 consecutive. He's got time, now flushed out and throws. A little screen pass. And a big hitter up for a first down across the 40. So Demetrius Murray, who carried for the first time to start this quarter, gets a reception of 14 and the chains are moved.
Does an excellent job of B.J. Daniels setting this play up, wait to the last second to get the ball into Murray's hands, and he does the rest, working it up the field.
Football at the 45-yard line of the Bulls as we're down to 5:35 in a fast-moving third quarter. Murray now getting a steady load, and he's got more. First down, a pickup of 16 for Demetrius Murray.
South Florida starting to change it up a little bit, taking Scott out the big bruising back from Ventura, California, and putting Murray in and giving him a chance, throwing him a screen pass and allowing him to get up the middle, making the guy miss. And he's dragging people also. He's running like Scott, knocking into people.
First down to the 39 of the Huskies. Quarterback keep, B.J. Daniels into the secondary. And Daniels picks up a first down.
The guy that has the toughest job on this defense are the ends, Travado Williams and Jesse Joseph, especially when B.J. Daniels runs this read play where he's reading off the end.
Those passes out on the edge for the Bulls have opened up the running game. First and 10 for the UConn 28. Murray breaks one tackle and gets to the 25. Jesse Joseph brings him down.
These are the type of drives you like if you're an offensive coordinator, because you get to go and you're getting your bag of trips. One play works, sets up the next one. Then you're able to keep farther and farther down in your playbook and book of calls and find something that really makes a difference. Right now, UConn is playing press coverage. They got a free safety in the middle of the field.
South Florida with half the total offense it usually has, but considering that it was just a little over 80 yards in the first half, they have hit triple digits here in the third quarter alone. That's Jesse Joseph celebrating a tackle, and it'll be third and long, and the crowd will get into this play.
The crowd's starting to feel this game. They know that UConn's in it. They can see that if they can get some noise going, and they can make a difference also. You got Randy up in the slot at the top of the screen.
And the Bulls.
South Florida.
First time I've heard the crowd
timeout
since the game started.
And you know, after this timeout, the crowd should be even louder. So the Bulls and the Huskies all on their sides of the field. Let's talk first about South Florida. What kind of play do you draw up on 3rd and 9?
Well, you know they're going to have B.J. Daniels in the slot, in the shotgun, so he can be able to see the field easier, find out what his best option is. Again, we talked about Landy earlier in the first half. Tried to go to him, didn't work out. Tymier Brown got an interception. But you know what? The main thing is UConn, they can rush with 4 guys. The most important thing they need to do is make sure they keep contained. No stunts, no crazy fronts. Play 4-man up front. Make sure those guys keep an arm free on the outside so he can't get outside, and don't let him find a crease up the middle.
Here comes a big play in the second half. 3rd and 9 for South Florida. Incomplete.
And pretty close to an interception, too.
Yawin Smallwood from the middle linebacker spot. 33 was defending.
Well, this is why you're playing defense right there. If you could catch, you'd be playing tight end.
Spoken like a true tight end. Maikon Bonani will try to boom one from 45 and cut into that UConn lead. He's missed a couple today. And it remains 16-10 Huskies. 3:41 left in the third quarter. Two weeks ago, this Husky defense was lit up for almost 500 yards by Western Michigan quarterback Alex Carter, who was 37 for 51 and 5 scores.
There was five touchdowns in the fourth quarter. McAtee himself had 300 yards throwing 4 touchdowns, but Western Michigan outlasted them. They couldn't find a way to stop those Western Michigan receivers from catching balls and scoring touchdowns. And then a big fumble by Griffin towards the end of the game made a huge difference, and you don't really see that much out of him.
So while we look at the Connecticut Husky offense, what's been the big difference today for Connecticut's defense?
Connecticut's defense is doing what they do best, which is stopping the run and being gap disciplined.
Chance to start a scoring drive that put some separation in this game. Jarrell Young making the tackle on 43, Lyle McCombs, who's had quite a workout today.
You know, it's getting a workout as an offensive line because we knew that this was going to be a challenge for that UConn offensive line going against this front four of South Florida that's so physical and fast. And they're doing an excellent job of staying on their blocks, finishing their blocks, and McCombs is finding the holes and going north and south.
And able to pick up some sizable chunks of yardage on first down. McAtee play action. Incomplete. Intended for Tupaki Jones. Tupaki wears 84 as one of the wideouts. Grew up just 25 minutes away from this stadium in Farmington, Connecticut.
His father, Tupaki Jones, was also a good defensive back for the Patriots in a long NFL career. Actually, one of my old teammates.
You would certainly know your NFL history there, would you not?
Yes, I would.
Huskies are going to use one of their 3 timeouts here to set up a third down play. It's
Timeout.
third
Connecticut.
and 4.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
Paul Pasqualoni, while his team is certainly not odds-on favorites to win this game, it's still just a touchdown difference. Has to be much more pleased today than what he saw in the second half debacle against West Virginia just 7 days ago.
Yeah, they hung into that game. They had a great first half. But one play made a huge difference when they lost a fumble. McAtee was trying to scramble, lost the ball at the 10, ran it back 84 yards, and that started a 33-0 run. Now the key now is obviously just keep doing what you're doing, keep running the ball, sprinkle in that play action pass every now and then. Don't put your defense in a bad situation because a defense can hang with anybody. Offense can't make it tougher on them.
Eight players up in the line of scrimmage for the Bulls. McAtee is blitzed and down. Well, they came in a cavalry there, led by Sam Barrington, and able to stop Connecticut on 4th down for a loss, and that's sack number 6 of the day.
Nobody even blocks Barrington. He comes right through, unblocks. The offensive line doesn't get the calls right. Miscommunication, let a man wide open and free.
Evan Landy with a catch at the 27. 6 sacks this afternoon for the Bulls on defense.
They got the tight end catching punts.
And a penalty flag. The Bulls have had many of those against them today. Well, for a South Florida team that's had more than 2 weeks off since the Pitt loss, today's 3 turnovers, 1 resulting in a touchdown and a slew of penalties. Not a good performance.
It really came out sloppy since the first series. The best drive they've had so far was the first one of the second half.
Holding during the return. Number 4, 10-yard penalty. First down.
It's on Tyson Butler. And so the football is moved back to the 18-yard line with 2:23 to go in quarter number 3.
Got to realize that all the games in the Big East are important.
Take some time to bring you up to date on what's happened in the top 25 across the country. Wisconsin had 83 last year, held to just 59 today in a win over Indiana. And that's one of your dark horse picks to win the national championship, is it not?
Well, they got so much flack for putting up all those points last year. I'm sure they called off the Dogs, not wanting it to happen again.
Michigan State handed Michigan its first loss of the year. Here the Bulls trailing by 6 as we're winding down the third quarter.
Now South Florida's offensive line is going to have to start controlling the line of scrimmage on their side, play on UConn's side of the line of scrimmage.
Bulls open this quarter with a very efficient drive led by number 7 B.J. Daniels, who threw 5 passes, completed all 5 for 62 yards and ran for a touchdown of 22 yards. Since then the Huskies have answered with 10 points, 7 of those on defense, and have the lead. South Florida committed itself to the pass, particularly on the edge to start quarter number 3. Had mixed and matched the pass and run, with Murray carrying the football a little bit more than Scott here in the second half. How do you like the combination of plays? Are you in favor of them?
Why? Right now, what's working best for South Florida is throwing the ball out wide on the perimeter, making those UConn defenders tackle in space.
One-on-one coverage to the 40, incomplete.
That's the first ball thrown downfield, the first vertical throw B.J. Daniels has made. Now this is an offense that through the first 5 games has 7 plays over 40 yards, 5 over 50. We haven't seen one big play yet. They need to start taking advantage of the weakness that is UConn's defense in the secondary. Byron Jones, young kid. Tymir Brown, a young kid.
Here comes the crowd. Just beat the play clock. Daniels in trouble and out of trouble, and throwing a strike in midfield.
South Florida got away with a holding call on that one. Seal Moore was being held with vice grips.
Pass goes incomplete. Ball juggled. South Florida set to turn the ball over. Evan Landy was the intended receiver, and he was double covered. So Justin Brockhouse-Kahn back to punt. And this UConn defense holding serve here in the third quarter. And he booms one. A punt of 41 yards and plenty of hang time, and Nick Williams decided to wave it off. Now this is a matchup I think you would like, Christian, particularly in the trenches, because this seems to be a determining factor in this game so far between offense and defense.
You watch Mo Prentice getting upfield, getting on the linebacker, sustaining his blocks, and you look at the defense of UConn and South Florida's linemen really getting after. We know that this game is going to be won in the trenches. Mo Prentice again, NFL type of center, smart kid.
Huskies' Lyle McCombs has rushed for nearly 100 yards in this game on 23 carries. And as a team, while South Florida has the better yardage running the football, UConn was able to eat up a lot of clock in this game, particularly in the first half. And now in the second half, own the lead at 16-10. And we are prepared to go to the fourth quarter. The last 2 years in this series, plenty of drama. Now wonder if we're setting up for another terrific finish.
That's the end of the third quarter. Timeout.
After 3 quarters, the Huskies 16 and the Bulls 10 will continue from East Hartford, Connecticut in a moment. And a game of mistakes today, particularly for South Florida, which finds itself down in the 4th quarter. As we get this period started, Jim Barber and Christian Fourier from Rentschler Field. Rentschler Field opened in 2003. And in this game of mistakes, it's included turnovers and also missed field goals.
Right there, you see B.J. Daniels throwing off his back foot, trying to make a play, and then you see the first missed field goal, which could prove to be costly, and then the second one just hooks it to the left.
Sure, it must frustrate the Bulls, considering they'd had a lot of time off, good practices, able to get things back in sync. Not so on the field today. Play action, McEntee out to the flat. Connecticut works into the wind here in the 4th quarter. As South Florida won the toss to start the game, deferred with the idea of having the win at its back in the final period. First catch of the day for Reuben Frank, and a look at that wind that has not died down since we began this game at around 3:35 Eastern time. McEntee with time. McEntee will get swallowed up. Nice coverage sack by the Bulls. That's their 7th sack of the game.
Your internal clock has got to be ticking if you're a quarterback. He sat there, great coverage by South Florida. There's nowhere to throw the ball. Lattimore comes in at the last minute, unblocked. You just throw it away. You got to know that the clock is ticking in your head, and you use the ball your time, get rid of the ball. Something bad's going to happen.
Cole Wagner to punt. Landy with a return to the 41. South Florida had the football for 9.5 minutes in the first half and 9 minutes in the 3rd quarter. Got the ball back to start the 4th. Holtz on at the University of Connecticut. Moments into the 4th quarter. The wind figuring to play a factor as we get down to the final moments. And when play resumes, the Bulls have the football at their own 40. 1st and 10.
Kendall Reyes just a second ago yelling back at all his teammates, telling them to get ready to go. We got to get a big stance this time.
Reyes, a defensive tackle for the Huskies, one of 4 captains of the team. Little end around activity on 1st down. Lindsey Lamar picks up 10 and more, 12 gain, a 1st down, a flag at the end of the play.
Be holding, blocking downfield.
Legal block below the waist. Offense. Number 11. 15-yard penalty. 1st down.
It's on wide receiver A.J. Love, and that is the 9th penalty of the day for South Florida. How do you explain that after a 16-day break?
You know, it's funny. Coaches are going to be pulling their hair out after this game is over, because you would think that this would be the game where you wouldn't have any mistakes. But sometimes after a break, it's kind of like the first game of the season. You get the rust off early in the first half, 1st quarter, and then sometimes it's too late.
Good point. From the shotgun, Daniels, incomplete. Of course, it's good to gobble up the ball anyway on the ground, just in case that was a pass that was going backwards, which is a live ball, lateral.
When in doubt, always jump on it. And again, you got another situation now where the crowd can get into it, make it difficult on Daniels. The defense is really starting to feel it right now. Just kind of hits him in the chest and bounces right off. Hit him in a bad spot. His hands.
Never been accused of that.
Never.
Huskies rush 5, little bubble screen. Victor Mark on the catch. Twan Martin on the tackle. South Florida trying to keep the football and march for a game-time score. Bulls only 2 of 8 when it matters on 3rd down. Little slant, incomplete. Broken up by 7, Dwayne Gratz.
Dwayne Gratz, probably the best cornerback that they have on the field right now, especially with Bleedy Ray Wilson out of the game. The one guy you don't want to go out if you got man-to-man coverage is him, because he does an excellent job of staying on his man. He has great ball skills.
Don Brown, the fine defensive coordinator of the Huskies, telling us earlier in the week that Bleedy Ray Wilson, even though he's out with a knee injury, has been coaching the young guys, trying to help them to be in all the right spots. Williams will let it go. And a terrific roll to the 2-yard line.
Well, that surprises me, and Williams not catching that ball, because you're in position. The last thing you want to let that thing do is bounce and go another 15 yards and give yourself a worse field position. You have to catch that ball, get underneath it, trust in your ability to catch it.
Big time punt for Brockhouse Khan of 55 yards. And so now field position is switched on a dime, and the Huskies out of the shadow of their own goalpost. College basketball fans, don't miss out on the action as 8 D1 men's basketball teams compete in the 6th annual Old Spice Classic in Orlando, November 24th through the 27th at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex. Had a chance to see the field moments ago. We invite you to log on to www.oldspiceclassic.com to get your tickets today. It's always a fun tournament, those exempt tournaments where lots of games are played early and people start to jockey for position in terms of how the national scene sees them. And in that field, we've got some teams that are rebuilding. Lyle McCombs now 43, the running back for the Huskies, 24 carries, over 100 yards at 101. And 2nd and 9, first down. McComb, that's a huge carry. Michael Linares brings him down, but not before a gain of 14 and out of trouble.
And it gives him a lot of breathing room. Instead of being backed up, it gives them a lot of breathing room, and now they're able to operate offensive line, staying on their blocks, giving him opportunities to run. And South Florida, they have got to try and figure out a way to get off those blocks. They can't do it so far.
As a team, Huskies have rushed 40 times for 106 yards. And this ground game, if it can continue to manufacture first downs, will eat clock and put South Florida in a very vulnerable spot.
A lot of offenses have what they call 4-minute offense. That is when you try and run as much as possible to eat at the clock. I have a feeling that UConn is going to call this 10, 11-minute offense, because they don't want South Florida to get the ball back.
So Mark Snyder, as he hopes to defend it here and try to shake things up against Paul Pasqualoni's team. They have been able to force 2 UConn turnovers. McEntee play action, shooting one down the field. Incomplete. Crowd here thought pass interference might have been the call.
Well, the ball took him outside just a tad. And Kashif Moore trying to make a play on the ball. He was open.
There certainly was contact.
No, there was contact, but I don't know if they're going to say if that was a catchable pass or not. But if you're John McEntee, you got to lead him inside. He's throwing the ball outside. If you're on next to the sideline, fine, great pass. Inside, let him run it down.
McEntee steps up on 3rd down. He's got a receiver. Going to be short of the sticks as Griffin makes the catch, and Sam Barrington able to prevent him from gaining that extra yard that will continue the drive.
And I'm actually surprised that they're allowing McAtee to throw the ball downfield. I have not seen him throw it downfield yet or the past couple weeks.
UConn has now failed on its last 4 third-down tries. Here's Cole Wagner. And he blasts one to Landy inside the 25. Tries to reverse field. Still going and got 5 yards out of all of it. A 53-yard punt and return of 5. Bulls still trail by 6. Time starts to work against them. Football today. How about UConn basketball last night at Gamble Pavilion? Sold out, over 10,000 to salute the national champions of college basketball last year, Jim Calhoun and the Connecticut Huskies. All the stars were out. Kemba Walker, Ray Allen, just to name a few. Gino Auriemma, he's won a number of national championships as well. They were denied by Notre Dame last year in the national semifinals in Indianapolis. But what a show last night and what a crowd. And both of these teams are going to be electric again this year.
Might have to come down and see a game this year.
Oh, yeah.
Take a little trip down from Boston. What if I can get some of you guys to get me some tickets?
If you can get a ticket.
That's the key. Can I get a ticket?
B.J. Daniels trying to lead the Bulls back here in the 4th quarter. South Florida continuing to try to pound away with the ground game. We have not seen Darrell Scott much here in the second half.
Since that 3rd quarter fumble, it's been all Demetrius Murray.
Scott had 13 carries for 58 yards. 10 of those carries early in this football game, the 1st quarter. Daniels on the move. 3rd down. This is where South Florida has really struggled. 2 for 9.
This is a big point of emphasis for both sides of the ball. South Florida knowing that they need to keep the chains moving, give themselves more opportunities to get and set up plays and get points.
Daniels with the option. Victor Mark carries the football, 1st down, South Florida.
And if you remember in the 1st half, that was the exact same play where Daniels pitched the ball to Miller and they fumbled it. This time, nice exchange, nice pitch. Miller does a good job getting up the field, getting the 1st down.
That's Harris Agbor, the ball carrier, number 25. Actually, Joel Miller carrying for the 1st down, and now play action for Daniels. In trouble, shooting one down the field for Griffin. Nearly picked off. Jerome Jr., the safety, back to defend, number 15.
Jerome Jr., one of the guys back there that has some playing experience. B.J. Daniels just tosses this ball up, hoping that one of his guys can get up with a play, and Junior almost comes up with a big interception.
2nd and 10 for the Bulls, needing 6 to tie. To Moore, 1st down and more. Deontay Welsh on the catch for South Florida. Another 1st down to the 46. B.J. Daniels to throw again. It's up in the air and it's intercepted. And the Bulls guilty of their 4th turnover of the game.
Seal Moore coming up with a big interception with a lot of help from the tip pass. His 2nd interception of his career. The ball gets tipped by Smallwood and Moore, able to make a big play.
How about the Huskies forcing 4 turnovers? That's the MO of South Florida typically.
Yeah, they've been getting a lot of tip passes. UConn doing a great job of making a play on those passes that are tipped.
So the Huskies with the football back halfway through the 4th quarter. And now could put a drive together that would seal the game. Cummings, incomplete.
Just misses feet out of bounds.
So Bucky Jones with the catch, but was out of the playing field.
He just misses, actually gets the quarterback, gets his hands hit, comes back for it, just misses his right foot.
Bulls have 2 timeouts remaining, as do the Huskies. Johnny McEntee, the starting quarterback, back in the game for UConn. Jones in motion. Here comes pressure. UConn trying to drive the pile as Moore catches. John Legist from the strong safety spot makes the tackle.
What I like about this play for John McEntee, the young quarterback, first year starting, is how quickly he got the ball out of his hands. The whole game, South Florida has been blitzing and he's been holding on to the ball too long. This time he sees the blitz, he gets rid of it quick, gets it in the hands of Isaiah Moore, and he pushes his way to a first down. That's the type of quick release you need. You see what's going on, you get rid of the ball.
Moore, the Huskies' top receiver in this game, with 5 catches for 48 yards. You know, conceivably, the Huskies, if they continue to move the chains, could finish the game with the football.
Well, that's what they want to do. They don't want to give South Florida another chance with the ball on offense. We know how fast they can score. You got to be impressed with the offensive line of UConn. Pushing the pile, pushing South Florida.
That's the success that Pittsburgh had a couple of weeks ago with Ray Graham in the backfield. 2nd and 7. McEntee on the roll. Incomplete.
South Florida has so much speed. If you're going to have a guy like McEntee roll, do a big naked play like that, trying to get the ball to the tight ends or the fullback in the flat, you really got to set them up good because they're so fast and they can adjust, they can recover. You saw there Terrell Young on the tight end in the flat. McEntee had to get rid of it, but he had to throw behind him and couldn't give his receiver an opportunity to catch that pass.
All right, in the second half, Christian, UConn just 1 of 6 on 3rd down, so how do you fix that?
Here's what you do. You find your best receiver, Isaiah Moore, and you get him the ball again.
Moore is 83. That one not good enough for a first down and not even close. And so now the Huskies give up the ball and the Bulls have a chance.
Well, on that play you saw South Florida decided they're going to rush and then make it hard on McEntee. This is what the coaches talked about all week. They want to make McEntee sweat, especially on 3rd down. Let's see if he can make those throws. In the first half he did. So far in the second half he struggled a little bit.
Here's Cole Wagner to Evan Landy. Fair catch at the 10. With 5:38 left, the Bulls must go 90 yards to try to win it. In our game summary, note B.J. Daniels' numbers, modest to say the least, 13 for 25 for South Florida, 138 yards and 2 picks. Lyle McCombs has run the football for UConn 27 times for 120 yards, and the turnovers, the most significant, 4 for South Florida, 1 that was picked up and returned for a touchdown.
You look at Lyle McCombs. This is the guy that was averaging 95 yards a game, and the coaches talked about how they wanted to get more out of him. Well, they're getting more out of him.
South Florida from its own 10. Daniels to the flat. And a big hitter. Lindsey Lamar. Victor Mark, and a carry and catch of 23 yards.
This is what South Florida did to open the second half. This is what they need to continue to do if they want to move the ball up the field. You know they're struggling going up the middle if they're running the ball. They need to stay on the perimeter.
And the pile moves, and so do the Bulls' chances of getting down the field on first down. Demetrius Murray has had the workload since the fumble by Darryl Scott in the third quarter.
This is where B.J. Daniels has to be at his best. He's in the fourth quarter. He's down. He's got to find ways to make plays, get the ball in the hands of the right people.
Daniels in space. 40, 30, and out of bounds.
He's just laughing and having a great time right now. You can see how dangerous he is. You can't sleep on him at all. He's struggling all day. He's not really running too much. Minus 12 yards in the first half. And next thing you know, bam, he breaks a big play to change field position.
41 yards for that big play, and to the Huskies 30. Back to the ground on first down, and this time just a pickup of a couple yards for Murray. C.O. Moore with one of his many tackles of the game.
Big time Brown had the first hit on him, couldn't hold on to him. Got to wrap up.
A touchdown to tie. Under 4 minutes for the game. Murray to the 25. Brings us to third down. South Florida in the second half, 2 of 5. And this crowd will work against B.J. Daniels and Murray and the rest of the Bulls as the offense stares into the student section. Daniels option, and he got swallowed up. Teddy Jennings from his backup defensive end spot.
That play was made possible by the great defensive front push by UConn. They don't give B.J. Daniels anywhere to go. C.O. Moore there, he's with the pitch read. The rest of the guys come by, wrap him up, and tackle him for the loss.
Here's the biggest play of the game.
The main key for UConn, do not let B.J. Daniels outside. Keep him in the pocket. Let him see if he can beat you with his arm.
Murray with a catch, but well short of the first down.
They had man coverage on UConn. UConn had man coverage on South Florida. They do a crossing route, trying to get a pick there. The man's open. He just can't quite get him the ball so he can catch it and run. Falls down. Can't get the first down.
So the Huskies get the ball back at the 24-yard line with 2:23 to go. 2 timeouts remaining for South Florida. This is where you wish you had the NFL rule, the 2-minute warning.
Well, they got a
if you're
better
the
rule.
defense.
You get a first down. Yeah, you get a first down, stops the clock. They're going to go 2 tights, and they're going to match them in there. South Florida just needs to do their best to stop them from running. No positive yards on first down.
And a tackle by 91, Ryan Giddens, as B.J. Daniels looking for a last chance. I think that Keith McCaskill with a tackle.
Now, you know, look at McCaskill just throw off the blocker, just hip toss him a la Reggie White. That's what I'm talking about, getting off a block. That's what they should have been doing the first 3 quarters. Don't just sit there and let a man hold on to you. You got to fight him off you.
If you're UConn, you keep the ball on the ground here.
They're going to have to throw it eventually and make a play because you don't want to give it back to him.
On second down, McCombs. Across the 25, close to the 30-yard line, still short of the first down marker. D.D. Lattimore up to make the stop.
Timeout. South Florida.
South Florida now with 1 timeout remaining, which means the next play will be its biggest.
Lyle McCombs getting a heavy dose of running the ball again, finding the crease. The key right now for this whole UConn defense, any skill position player, keep 2 hands on the football. Do not let those guys knock it out, because I'm telling you, that's what they're telling right now in the huddle. If you find that football, you see any bit of that football, knock it up. One guy hold him, the other guy knock it out.
College basketball fans, 8 Division I men's basketball teams are in the 6th annual Old Spice Classic in Orlando, Florida, November 24th through the 27th at the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex. Log on to www.oldspiceclassic.com to get your tickets today. Arizona State, Dayton under new management. Paul with Oliver Purnell, Fairfield, Indiana State, and Minnesota among the field. Big play for the Huskies and South Florida. McCombs.
Huge first down.
And that will seal it for the Huskies.
Got right over the right side of both Petrus, Adam Masters, and Kevin Friend. Great job of the guard pulling on the backside. That Steve Green you saw pulling out and knocking out, finding room for Lyle McCombs to get through the hole. Great job by that young man right there. 30 rushes, 131 yards, a 4.3 average, a career high for the young redshirt freshman.
Huskies' 2-game losing streak about to end. And for South Florida, after a disappointing loss in Pitt, add this to the other side of the ledger as well.
Lyle McCombs.
Timeout. South Florida.
The starter because Jordan Todman decided to go in the NFL. DJ Shoemate got hurt. Now these are 2 very productive guys, especially Todman, one of the most underrated guys in the Big East last year. Behind that big offensive line, he's doing a great job of finding those holes. Showing no fear when he gets through, because I'll tell you what, South Florida, they're big, they're athletic.
And you said at the telecast at the beginning how important this was for UConn to find a way to win and probably change the dimension of the entire season.
And find their identity. Who are you? We know that they're good defense. We know that they can stop the run. Offensively now, if you can protect John McEntee, if you can give him time to throw, he can make every single throw. He can throw the deep out. He can throw the in. He can throw the sit routes. And McCombs running the ball now, you know your offense is going to give you opportunities.
Bulls out of timeouts. Huskies set to go to 3-4 in South Florida. On the road back to Tampa will drop to 4-2. A well-deserved win on homecoming for the University of Connecticut. And I think if you asked Coach Pasqualoni how he feels now, he feels better than he did a week ago.
He still wouldn't show you much emotion in his face, though.
Nope.
He would, win or lose, you got the same look out of him. That's a grizzled old vet that's been around a lot of football. But that's a good win for this UConn team. They needed it.
And a come-from-behind win as well for the Huskies. Lyle McCombs, 32 carries, 130 yards, and the Huskies win for the 7th time in 8 Big East Conference home openers. So UConn, in a stretch of some important home games, they will head to Pittsburgh in 11 days, now rights the ship in the season.
They needed this. Remember last year they started the season 2-4, 0-2 in conference play. They needed this one against a South Florida team that had a week off, 16 days to prepare, but they did it on the ground and they did it on defense.
For Christian Fourier and the entire Big East crew, I'm Jim Barber. So long from East Hartford, where the final score is Huskies 16, Bulls 10. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.